in the mid-afternoon. we'll start. Good morning. Today is October 16th, 2024. The time is now 9:01 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and I will call this meeting to order. If you do have your cell phones, if you could silence them for me at this time. And if you would join us for the pledge and for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. O God, by whom the meek are guided, in the judgment of light riseth up in darkness for the God. We ask that you please bless this meeting as we convene today's meeting and bless our decisions for the good of the county. And God bless Custer County. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Kelly, could we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Day.
Present.
Commissioner Kanda.
Here.
Commissioner F.
Present.
County Attorney Dan Slater.
Present.
And Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper.
Okay, audience introductions. We're going to start up here with you, sir.
Hi, I'm Vernon Rock. I'm playing the role of IT today.
And then we'll start back here then.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Nadine Nadal, and I am a member. So thanks for having me here.
Doug Kirchner, a resident of 12 years and work up at Corn Creek.
Tracy Schleifer.
Leo Schleifer.
Kayla Day.
Bruce Barr.
Bob Smith, Community Services.
Okay, and let me check here online. I've got 2 people online. If anyone does go to speak later, if you could identify yourself for the record, I would greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, any amendments to the agenda?
None from me.
None, sir.
We do have minutes from October 2nd and the 9th.
I move we accept the minutes as written October 2nd and 9th.
I'll second.
So do you have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes from October 2nd and October 9th? Any discussion on those? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries. Commissioner items, Commissioner Kanda.
Late breaking news. The antenna has been built and being delivered tomorrow and mounted on Bunker Hill. Tomorrow, channel 11 ought to come online.
Nice.
I hope it does, because I'm tired of the phone calls.
I sure hope they don't drop it.
We're going live.
Okay. Anything else, sir?
No, none from me now.
Okay. Commissioner Epps.
I attended that CCI conference Zoom meeting. I'm trying to get to my, and so just kind of for the citizens, I guess, preview or knowledge here. We set legislative priorities for next year. And so each county's got 1 vote. And so we've got to have a 67% to pass these, to hold a quorum. And then we vote on what we want Colorado Counties, Inc. to fight at on the state level for us as counties. So there was 8 that they've got enough staff to handle about 8 of these legislative things for a year. And then there was some tier 2 issues that if they can get to them, they'll get to them. But the top 8 were treatment of agricultural land and urban renewal authorities, responsibilities of employer and civil judgments for civil rights violations, County courthouse funding. The state's got a lot of mandates. They want new courthouses. They want them to bring them up, but they haven't been willing to give any money towards it. So the counties are fighting for that, especially the rural counties. Increase the cap of county lodging tax. They want it to go up to 6% from the 2% cap. Because we are so tourism based, roads are getting pounded. Our infrastructure is getting pounded by tourists who don't pay $1 for our roads other than through a bit of gas tax. So they're hoping to increase that and then allow that money to be used for other than just advertising for tourism and what the current tourism stuff is right now. So basically it's to provide counties with more tools to use to be able to fund what we need to fund to take care of our infrastructure. Electric vehicle charging station tax and gas tax collection. Right now, there's not any tax on all the electric vehicles that are using the roads. They weigh more, there's more damage to the roads. So they're trying to get that through county revenue diversification. County revenue streams have become more unstable in recent years. I would say that's mostly due to the state messing around with our stuff, but you know, I won't pick on them too much. Grant counties the authority to propose diverse tax solutions, such as levying a countywide excise tax or a sales and use tax in unincorporated areas by statute. So just trying to get, again, the counties more control over what we do within our counties. Property tax proceedings, overhaul the whole property tax protest and adjustment and abatement and refund system. So there's more transparency and fairness in proceedings, and then responsibility for railroad maintenance projects. We don't have that in our county because we don't have any tracks, but there's a lot of counties that have tracks that go across, and they have crossings by that have access to private property, and a railroad can park their cars right in front of that and block you off from your private property. So they're trying to get a little bit more control over that and have some power there. And then stuff that hit the tier 2 solutions. So if they can get through this, then they'll go to the tier 2, but construction defect reform, that's kind of what stopped the whole condo building in Colorado. Tax credit incentives for sustainable aviation fuel. There's a push more with bigger airports for that. Create additional transportation planning regions. And that was mainly over to the southeast part of the state. They kind of wanted to divide their transportation regional areas. Minimum sentencing for child prostitution offenses. And then improvement to water sampling for impaired segments. But when legislature is in session, January through May largely, we have a vote on that, and at least one commissioner does, and we try to, as counties, then vote as to which way we want CCI to kind of lobby on what's being voted on in the legislature. So I kind of just wanted to run you guys through that and the citizens, because I think some of this is not out there as maybe well as it should be. So thank you.
I'll make that copy available if anybody would like to look at it while we're going through things here today. So anything else from you, sir?
I think that's enough.
You did speak a long time. I'll make mine shorter, maybe not as short as Bill's, but I attended Florence Fire again last night, just still making my presence known there. Then did get our quarterly weed report for DOLA put back in, submitted last night. And that was after we did receive our invoice from Brittany Pierce there in Fremont County. And that came in a little over 13,000. So between that and the cost share, I know we will be able to use those grant funds, and then that will tap into the county's budget some at the end of that. And then just a side note that we've all been, to Vernon's comment a minute ago, been involved in the budget process for the last week or two, so we've all been pretty busy on that, so that's all I would have.
Can I
You're gonna-
add to that
I
then?
was gonna ask you, you're gonna post some of this.
So the audit and the management letter, well, I'll say the audit got posted. I'm not sure about the management letter yet, but we got those both in PDF yesterday from Sam DiNardo, our auditor. So the audit's been posted, and then the draft budget always has to be posted by October 15th, according to the CRS. So that's been posted. It's the draft version. We don't show anybody in the red because we can't. So we're there, but we had to take $100,000 from Road and Bridges budget this year and 200,000 from next year's budget, and we used up the rest of what we have in reserves in their cash balance fund. We found out through the CRSs that we can't take from general fund and boost up Road and Bridge, so we weren't able to boost funds up, but we did have to take from general fund to boost up the self-insurance. So either we change and we boost up our mill levy on that and take away from our general fund, or we just make that transfer. So we just made the transfer for right now in the draft budget, and then we'll start whittling it away and coming down to match revenue, or we just decide that we take from cash reserves in general, but we're about $800,000 over revenue right now. So, and once we get final insurance numbers, yeah, projected revenue. But once we get final insurance numbers, that should come down a bit, and then we'll start hitting it pretty hard November, 1st November, and see where we end up. So,
Guess I'd say thank you, I guess.
yeah, I don't know if that's a thank you or not.
Yeah, thank you for the information.
I'll take that.
Okay. Dan, do you have anything for us today?
Just real quick, the county's been sharing HR resources with the hospital district. I've been working with HR director, Mr. Smith, to put together an IGA for a presentation to both you and the hospital district to kind of formalize that, so we're on what we're doing and what we're not doing.
Okay.
I would imagine that's in Bob's hand, so I can't imagine it'd take too long to look at it and have that in front of you.
Thank you.
Sure. Kelly?
Nothing.
Thank you. No unfinished business. So new business, our first item would be our Family Voice Council presentation. So
I'll leave it up to whoever
Want me
wants to
sit
lead
here,
off.
Or is there a certain way?
No, you
wanna
can
sit?
sit there. I think that'd be just
Just
fine.
speak up loudly so they can hear you.
Okay, I'll try to project. All right, so again, my name is Nede Nadal, and I am the Community Engagement Specialist working at the Colorado Department of Human Services. And I am here to present about the Family Voice Council that we have at the state level, and hoping to help my friends here to, in the near future, set one up here. But just a little bit of background on the Family Voice Council at the state level. We started in September of 2018, and we created rules of engagement, which are kind of like meeting etiquettes and meeting rules. We created our mission and vision, and we also created a plan for the future. And we do it every 2 years. So when we started in 2018, we had planned every 2 years. We were able to create a dashboard, and on that dashboard, we had information about how to set up Family Voice Council, which is free information We have our forms, interest forms, any forms that we utilize to recruit, for meeting agendas, any forms that we would use to just run a meeting and also to share information about surveys that we send out to presenters and also to Family Ways Council members to give feedback to the state on how the presentation went. We have a 3-year impact report, and I can share this all with you. It has links, so you can click on it and actually see the report and also those documents that I talk about. And within that dashboard, we have a compass, and that compass was created by Family Voice Council members to navigate, right? It's a compass to help folks navigate and also get those resources if they want to set up a council. We received a grant in November of 2022, which allow us to provide a stipend to council members to go to conferences or to help them support other institutions or organizations that are interested in starting a council themselves. So it's kind of like a fee that we give them to help others set up councils in their state or in their counties, or if an institution wants to start a council. We had 2 family advisors who were hired in August and November of 2023, and those family advisors support the family and community engagement team with meetings, taking notes, minutes, reaching out to council members, but also to create presentations for like the onboarding process for all the new members. We have consulted with states like Virginia, Arkansas, Louisiana, California, Wisconsin, South Carolina, Michigan, Iowa, Washington, New Mexico, and Massachusetts. So states are really reaching out to us to get an understanding and get their family-based council started, because they realize the importance of having people with lived experience, so receiving services from the state, whether it's public benefits or folks who have been in the system, to help with policy making. So having that co-creation and co-design model when starting a project, to make sure that we're listening to the families before writing rules, regulation, or having project and just telling people, okay, this is what it is and that's it. So having people on board in the initial stages to make sure that whatever project we're working on, whatever project we're designing, we have the input of people who will be affected by those policies and projects. What's next? The structure. So right now, we have 15 members, and members can have past or current experiences with 2 or more services from the Colorado Department of Human Services. So receiving SNAP benefits, or folks who have been in the foster care system, receiving cash assistance and things like that. That's the main requirement. So having that lived experience, so they can give feedback to the state on those public benefits and things that they receive from the state. They have, right now we have 15 members. We meet monthly for 4 hours on the 4th Tuesday of every month. And during those meetings, we have 2 presentations. So the presenters are from the different state departments. So it could be someone from the SNAP team, it could be someone from the mental health transitional living homes, and they will come present to the team for 15 minutes. And then the remainder of the time is left for questioning and also providing feedback, recommendations, because that's the presenters before they even come. They know that the council members will provide feedback on what they presented on, because we have a preparation call with those presenters before they come in, so they know what to expect. What else? So members sign a commitment letter for 1-year term, and they have the opportunity to renew it for the 2nd year. And after that, they become an alumni member. So even after finishing or terming off the year or the 2 years, members are still engaged with CDHS, because we work with them to go to conferences. My supervisor and myself, we recently went to the TANF conference that was held in Denver. They went to also out of state in Portland recently with a Family Voice Council member, and presented in front of a panel for folks who are, again, getting into more understanding of having those lived experiences when starting projects. And then members are compensated. We don't just have them attend and provide feedback and recommendation. Currently, the rate is at $40 an hour. It used to be $35 an hour, but we were able to increase it to $40 an hour after doing research and just understanding what the market is like, volunteer time, comparing it to volunteer time. And because folks are taking care of their parent or child or spouse or family member, so compensating them for their time was something that we thought had to be a critical part of them coming in and giving us that feedback. Just a couple of council members myth busting things. So the first one is from Hazel. The myth is that Family Voice Council just wants to complain and tell us what we're doing wrong versus what we're doing right. The truth is, we are a big believer in what the government can do. Family Voice Council has seen a culture shift within CDHS, within the Colorado Department of Human Services, and also in engaging more with the community. The Family Voice Council is solution focused and also want to make positive change for the community. And last but not least, we focus on the problem, not the presenter. So if the presenter comes in, we don't focus on the presenter, but on what the problem is and also providing solution, not just complaining or, sharing grievances, but really providing solutions to what the issues are, whether it's something with the application, for example, for SNAP benefits, or the lane not working, just anything that the Family Voice Council members feel like if they provide that recommendation, it'll be helpful for the larger community because of their experience. Another one is presenting at the Family Voice Council is setting me up to fail. The truth is, we don't want you to fail at all. We want you, and this is from Joanna, who's a Family Voice Council member. We want you to succeed for the betterment of our community and for future generations. Also, having structured prep calls with presenters and co-chair has been really helpful. And you don't have to defend yourselves, come to us with open minds. Seeing and hearing support from leaders means everything to them. And then I will share one from our executive management team who have presented to the Family Voice Council. One is Kara Harvey, who is the director of the Division of Aging and Adult Services. And she said that the stakeholder engagement and partnering with individuals who have lived experience helps inform how policies need to be. The next one is having prep calls with members was extremely beneficial. It allowed all of us to be on the same page and have a clear understanding of what the council needed from them. The Family Voice Council gave valuable feedback and recommendation for the presentation and changes for the future. Another one is everyone's perception and understanding varies, and it is unique because if each individual has a specific experience, so that uniqueness can give you a larger picture of people's experiences and how changes can affect folks. It also allows us to view things in a different perspective, because most of the time folks are on the other side and not have received any benefits, and they're making the policies for those people receiving the benefits. What else? Oh, some successes. We provided guidance on over 50 statewide programs, like within behavioral health, early childhood, children and youth families, also economic security. Some more successes was that we provided real life solution for the Cliff Effect grant. So the Cliff Effect is basically how family council members, because they receive public benefits, they have that income limit. And if they receive any type of additional income, it could affect their benefits and they fall off. So therefore, my supervisor actually was able to work with the state and also the governor to write that income disregard. So when we pay our council members, it does not affect their income and it does not affect their benefits. And we pay them either via direct deposit, cash, or gift cards. And they do receive a 1099. However, the income is disregarded, so it won't affect their public benefits. What else? Oh, we give direction on priority focus areas for the Colorado Resiliency Framework. We guided accessibility changes to improve the Colorado Program Eligibility and Application Kit, the PEAK program. We advise other agencies and community organizations to start their own councils. Also participated in multiple conferences to share the compass, which is again, that website where folks interested in starting a council can go and get all those forms that they need to help them set up a council. We participated in the legislative process, and council members have testified on numerous bills that impact children, youth, and families. So that's another piece too, when working with family members, they can testify when you're working on a bill to help with that storytelling piece to encourage legislators to write certain bills that affect, again, the people who are on the receiving end of things. Now what? What's the next step? Including individuals with lived experience in a formal and informal board or commission with membership structures, building a Family Voice Council overview into onboarding processes, or even include Family Voice Council members in the hiring process of certain things, if you're hiring for certain positions, including those voices of people with lived experience. Helping spread the word about Family Voice Council with your networks, and also those who are eligible to join a council. Incorporating the council into grant applications, so when applying for grants to receive money, sharing that you have a council available and the council is working with the team to provide feedback, and also integrating community engagement into planning and program budgets. That is pretty much what I have. Do you have any questions, comments, anything that I need to clarify?
May I speak just real quick? Okay, I just wanted to give even a little context on Nade being here. One of the things that we kind of put together, there was about half a dozen of us that put together an exploratory committee over the summer in thinking through how do we increase the quality of services, specifically in DHS, within for individuals within the county. And so in thinking through some of the ways that we could help improve the quality of services and within relationships within the community, how do we do that? And so in talking through a few different avenues we could go down, I think the thing that we really landed on was the Family Voice Council would be something that would that we thought would be very effective improving quality of services for individuals. And so we went down, we met with Nade, we had her come here as well so that she could get kind of a tour of the county, met specifically with Lucas at the time. And so we've just kind of been doing our homework and seeing, you know, would this be something that would work well within the county, and meeting with public health as well. And I think that was what, you know, we asked her then, would she come and present on behalf of the state, so that bringing some awareness and what we've been talking through and discussing as well. So hope that gives some context on it. So.
No, I think the hour that I sat with your group, I learned more about DHS in that hour that I have probably in this last year. And most of it because of my own neglect of trying to get to understand DHS holistically, due to being busy with the finances and HR and other issues. But you guys forming a group here that people, you know, people can come to the commissioners and go, you're over DHS, tell us, and we're like, but for them to be able, and a lot of times we're a little bit unapproachable because we're quote unquote government. And so it would be nice for the people of Custer County to have a Family Voice Council to go to that's made up of individuals here that are part of that they're, hey, that's my neighbor, that's my friend, that's the guy I know that I see once a week at the coffee shop. that breaks down some of those barriers that we have in our relationships that I think would help improve what DHS does, or gets out the information that this is what DHS can do if you're in need. So I think I like where you guys are going with this, and I support it from my standpoint here. And if there's something that the county needs to do or can do, then please approach us and let us know what we can do. So
I'm sure Laura's had good chats with you too, right?
Which one, Laura Sartor or?
We've not had
You haven't had any
chats with Laura. no.
Or
Lockhart.
Lockhart.
Oh,
We have included
the next step, I hope.
Alexis on just providing some information that we were meeting. They weren't able to come today. Just, I think they had something going on at the state office.
That's definitely a meeting that has to happen.
Okay.
Because your relationship with our office in the county, I'm trying to wrap my head around exactly how that relationship fits together. And I'm hearing that you guys are not just pointing out deficiencies, but bringing solutions. If you see a problem, you voice the problem as well as a possible solution. Is that what I'm hearing?
absolutely, absolutely. So our members always come up again with an open mind, and because of their lived experience, they can provide recommendation on how to make things better or tweak it to make sure that it's not affecting the people receiving services in a negative way.
And I think, what Family Voice Council really started doing is going, the solutions that state legislature comes up with, culture changes, or, hey, wait a minute, we shouldn't do it this way, there's a better way to do it. And so they're able to go back to state legislature and go, hey, these rules that you set in place a decade ago aren't working for us anymore, and we need more tools in our handbag. We need to be able to adjust to the situation instead of this solution fits every situation, and we're not there. So I think that's more of, hey, I had a bad experience with DHS and this is my experience. Is this what everybody's experiencing? Or, hey, I had a great solution, or I had a great experience with it, and this solution is really working. We don't want to change this solution. So I think that's what I am seeing from talking to them and talking to Doug more one-on-one about it, outside the group that they've kind of formed to start talking about this. But just to help, to be a help to the county, to be a help to DHS, and then to impact legislation and how that gets, how that is going to affect our current DHS and our future DHS.
So I would ask too then.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right, you're absolutely right.
So I'll get a little more clarification. And you stated you had 15 members. That's 15 member groups. Is that what I'm hearing? That so in 15 different places around the state, you have 15 different groups around the state now that are operating, or you have 15 members as a council?
Yes, we have 15 individuals, 15 members who live in different parts of the state.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we're lacking voices from this side, the Eastern Plains, but it's mainly folks who reside in the Denver metro area. We have 2 members who reside in Fort Collins and 2 members who reside in Colorado Springs, and the rest are in Denver, Aurora, and that neighborhood.
So basically, you would find a client that's using DHS in, say, Custer County here now to be a member of your state organization.
Correct,
Okay.
they're interested in joining, yes, absolutely.
Or there's a statewide, my understanding is there's a statewide council and you're trying to form local councils to work in each county, which is
Correct.
what we have here.
Yes,
Okay.
that part
So
too.
when she's talking about the 15, she's talking about that's a statewide council as opposed to individual county family voice councils that are operating or are forming.
Okay.
That's correct.
I think this is right. Dave, you can correct me, but I think we might be the first rural county to be pursuing this. Is that fair?
We have other counties too, but they haven't like
Come together.
kinda, yes,
Yeah.
yes. We have Greeley, we have, yes, I'm working with a team in Greeley, but they're still in the, process, recruitment, making sure they have the funding to make sure to pay, the council members. Where else? We have Arapahoe County, but like when you talk about like outside of
Right.
Denver, yes, we haven't had like legit one yet.
So how are you funded?
I'm sorry?
How is it funded?
Yeah, so with the state, so because of our executive director, Michelle Barnes, we have it in the legislature where we receive funding. My supervisor, Chelsea Hall, who's the one who started the Family Voice Council, applies for grant and get that money funded through the government to pay for those council members.
Okay, so from a county point of view, Custer County, we're not responsible for the infrastructure or anything to support that. Like with our DHS department is currently. We supply the space, the ability for Laura Lockhart to do her job. So she'll be interfacing with you in effect, is that how it's set up?
Yes,
Somehow?
yes. I mean, if you can provide funding, that'll be fine, but if not, the group will have to find the funding to provide that stipend or honorarium to those council members.
And a place to meet, I assume.
I'm sorry?
And a place to meet.
Yeah, please to me, but I'm sure, yeah, Delegate and the team will figure out that place. It could be anywhere really, library or somebody's house, whatever, however, they decide to set up the meeting and wherever, so.
Bob, I think you might have had something here.
Comment, but when you were here last night, sat in, Bill's question was one that I asked, and the answer was, who's Laura? And so to my question, your question to Bill is, have you talked to Laura Lockhart in DHS? And your response to me was, who's Laura? And I would just encourage you, I hear what you're wanting to do, and it's all good, like I said before, all in favor of that. But I strongly encourage you to, if you're wanting to help local DHSs, Custer County included, if you want to make your services successful and your goal, your mandate successful, it only seems that you need to reach out to the local DHS departments and have a face-to-face conversation with the DHS department here, which currently is Laura Lockhart. And if you've got, just from experience, if you want to be successful, you've got to build that relationship first.
Of course.
You can build a relationship with this group, but you really need to work on building that relationship with the local DHS department. Just as a feedback or continuation of what my previous question was, which was Bill's question. So just to put that back in front of you.
They're a great stakeholder, they're part of it, right? Because
Right,
whatever
if
feedback the community is providing regarding DHS, they have to be on board and receptive to that
Right.
feedback or
And if-
recommendation to implement the changes that need to be
They haven't met you,
made.
don't know who you are, don't know your vision, don't know your goal. Seems like you're missing a key piece. That's just my encouragement. I'm not telling you.
For sure. We're in the initial stages, so
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that we
Yeah.
talk to the
Just
commissioner,
to-
all the
just
different
encourage it.
stakeholders.
And
Yes.
then I've made attempts to reach Mr. Dodson. He's difficult to reach, but I will continue as I mentioned. So just an update on that.
And I did just want to add one note to that. We have, DHS is aware, and I think so right now, we were just kind of in the initial stages of letting, first having the day come out to Custer County, giving a tour, briefly meeting DHS, meeting briefly with Lucas, and then I've had a follow-up meeting with DHS, hoping they could come today. So building awareness and building relationship. So it's in the plan. It was just a matter of we're just kind of who's available and when are things taking place. So we weren't we didn't bypass that whatsoever. So.
And I think a local family voice council is a good resource for the commissioners to go, are the programs that we support, that we're behind, that we facilitate, the facilities, the structure, the support from IT, finance, and human resources to support DHS. Is it doing its job? Are we, are we going down a road that we don't want to go around? So I think this vision of this Family Voice Council can really be a good feedback mechanism for the commissioners to go, hey, what is going on? Are we taking care of our citizens in the way we need to be? So thank you.
I think both pieces need to be there because the ones using the system do have that historical knowledge of what does work and what doesn't work. But at the same time, the DHS office itself and the people that work in that office are the ones that have to implement that, whether it's on a local level, on a local change, or if it's a state change, statewide change or something like that. So I guess I would just reiterate what Robert said there a second ago, that having that relationship there as well. I mean, even if you have just local issues, that might be something where the council could go to the director at DHS and say, hey, seems like we're struggling here. Do you see a solution? Because they may have a solution, or they may have the same frustrations that the clients are having as well, but they can't address it because it's a statewide issue. But you get that feedback from them as well, because it's not always just a one-sided thing, and I think we all know that.
Well, and I hope DHS will use Family Voice Council, because sometimes the people that are within the very system carrying out the things can affect change less from the top down than an outside group that can come around and share the different experiences they have and go, hey, this isn't working. Sometimes those within the very company just can't make the changes that outside organizations can do, so, or outside influence. So good point. Thank you very much for sharing and coming forth.
We do. Appreciate you coming to Wetmore. So, as I don't know if you were here yet when Bill referred to it as the kingdom, and he is correct. We call it the kingdom down here.
That's right.
It's the biggest commissioner's room we've got.
Yes, it is.
You guys are free to go if you want to. I don't know how much this will drag out, but you're more than welcome.
Don't
to.
leave before you get some of those goodies.
Okay.
That's one of the benefits of the kingdom.
And on that note, we will take a short recess.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you again.
Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely, thank you.
Good, how are you?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job.
Really
I will reconvene this Board of County Commissioners meeting. Next item we have on our agenda would be the accounts payable.
Yeah, I move we approve the accounts payable to the tune of $275,796.89.
I will second that, plus I want to add in the one for the coroner at a price of $1,022.11.
So it's hanging out separately.
What?
That was separate.
Yeah. But if we put the two together, make it one motion.
Okay, and then we'll make it include the coroner's $1,000. That brings the total to $276,796.89.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to approve the accounts payable, inclusive of the additional one from the coroner, which would add $1,022.11 onto the $275,796.89. Discussion on those.
No, I sent an email out, and I'll continue to do this to just remind the departments to get their credit card vouchers in by the mid-month cycle. We're finding out, even though we made 2-day certified mail payment, they can take 7 to 10 days after they get our payment before it posts our account. So hopefully this will help keep us a little more straight with the credit cards and get the payments in quicker to get the credit to stay down low, so, and give us more available credit. So anyway, I think most every department on here other than IT, and IT is a little different beast due to all the G Suites and communication lines that are scattered throughout the month. So, but at least we got it this way, and we're getting somewhere. So I think this is a good thing, and keep going, keep moving forward. So tiny changes, slow and steady wins the race. So
True. And I would just tag on to yours. I would encourage all the departments, credit cards or their other AP, to make sure it's in a timely fashion, because the day before is not the right time to do that.
yeah, exactly right. So we'll keep working on it. I agree.
Okay, anything else from the table?
No, sir.
Public comment? Mr. Gilbert?
Yeah, I have a question on an item. The first part of it is, I believe that a commissioner or his family is involved with the Lollipop and Company, Inc. If that's not correct, for that assumption.
So I don't think that's on this AP run. That was on a past AP run. And I abstained from that vote I abstained from that line item. I think it was it was 2 meetings.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And
Yes, sir.
there's nothing from Lollipop that I saw on this AP run. Does that answer your question, sir? I'll take that as a yes. Okay. So I do have a motion on the floor to approve the AP reports as presented here today. in the sum of $275,796.89, as well as $1,022.11. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries. Okay, the next item would be the department.
During Kevin,
Sir?
Jesus. I said, I'm sorry, my Zoom cut out during Kevin's comment. And I
Did you-
didn't hear it.
Okay,
Not
the-
Lucas's, sorry.
okay, Lucas had stated that, he abstained from that vote. That was on, the AP run from 2 weeks ago. And he abstained from that line item on that vote. And, then I stated after that, I did not see anything from Lollipop on this AP run here today.
Well, there's a voided check, but that's why I noticed it, that's all.
Yeah, so the first check went directly to my wife's name, and that one I turned back in during a commissioner meeting and told them that I had not abstained from that vote, and it actually should have went to Lollipop, not directly to my wife. If that makes sense.
It does, except for what's $5,000 to Lollipop.
That is for Custer County Kids Council. It's to help.
Oh, okay.
That was for the lunch program, I believe, for the.
No.
Or,
No, it's not for that.
okay, never mind. I spoke out of turn. All righty. Question was answered, sir?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Now our next item up would be the Department of Revenue Sales and Lodging Tax Memorandum of Understanding. Kelly.
So this is the yearly MOU that, we need to do, and what it is it's appointing me as the person who checks the sales tax and the lodging tax. Monthly, I get on, I run a report, and then check that and just make sure everything looks kosher. And we do one for sales tax and one for lodging tax.
Okay.
And this is an annual thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So really, there's two MOUs.
Yes.
Correct.
Anything else here?
We need to make a motion on that, right?
Yes, we do.
I'll make the motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding for the Department of Revenue Sales and Lodging Tax memorandum that is appointed to Custer County, Kelly Camper, County Clerk and Recorder.
Okay. I would second that motion with the notation that, to Dan's point, that is two separate MOUs, one for the lodging tax and one for the sales tax.
So your motion is for both? Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Any further discussion at the table?
None for me, sir.
Okay, public comment? Seeing and hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries.
Thank you. I'll have you, sign it after.
Okay, thank you. Next item would be the ratification of the MOU between the Veterans Rescue Ranch and emergency management. That MOU was signed. I'm gonna catch it here and give you a date.
10/10.
On 10/10. With the Rescue Ranch on an MOU, participating with the vets program and using their property for storage of wood and also for being able to cut that wood up at a convenient time.
I move that we ratify the MOU, not the the MOU, between the Veterans Rescue Ranch and the Emergency Management.
Motion, to have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Public comment? Being the case, those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, that motion carries. Our next item on the agenda would be the automatic traffic control ordinance, ordinance number 24-01. And I believe Dan worked with the sheriff's office on getting information to draw this up, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So. And that would be for the use of the portable speed unit that he had brought to us at a previous meeting, to be able to utilize and to have tickets mailed to the offenders. Further discussion?
I move that we, what do we do with an ordinance? Adopt, that's what we do. I move that we adopt ordinance number 24-1, an ordinance to establish an automated vehicle identification system for county use. Sheriff.
I would second. Discussion.
Okay, it's probably good to point out this is a portable system and it's used for certain things where the traffic is necessary to make sure that we have a way of slowing them down without posting the limited sheriff's resources and deputies out there to work those systems. It's much like the city of Denver or Littleton. I've even had the privilege of getting my picture taken one time as I was behind a truck and the truck was turning at the same time and I turned inside it and all of a sudden the lights were flashing. I was just there with the truck and I didn't realize he was going through it too. So, but it worked, and it doesn't go against your points on your license. It's just a city thing that if you pay the fine and it doesn't hit your driving record or anything like that. So it's a good thing. I think it'll be useful to slow down people, especially on the county roads where they're posted at 35 with kids playing and people nice straight, they just lose sight of how fast they're going.
Were you wearing a vest when you got?
Yeah. Now I was smiling though.
Oh. You just as well.
You can see me smiling.
Every kid smiles as he dips his hand into the cookie jar.
That's right.
And I would note there are specific roads that are named in this ordinance. That is not necessarily an all-inclusive list. We can add something or take something off at a later date, as well as road construction areas that Road and Bridge is working on.
You know, and the good thing about it is it's not about the county citizens necessarily that know the roads, but out of town people that don't understand and don't see things, you know, it's going to be useful to slow them down. And it's not about collecting the revenue. It's about, and I think the proposed fine is what,
$40.
$40, not a lot.
Unless it's within a school zone.
Right. So I think it's a good thing to have for safety in the county.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for safety, for our infrastructure of our roads.
Yes.
Kelly, did you have anything on that?
I did, and I'm not an attorney, but in the past, I thought that ordinances had to be done differently. I thought you had a first reading, then you have a 30-day wait period that it has to be in the paper and it has to do all this before it can be approved.
I don't believe it does in county. Other entities it does, but not really.
We did, was that an ordinance, Kelly, or was it?
It was an ordinance. That's how we've always done them in the past, so I just know enough.
Yeah,
to be
I've
dangerous.
participated in that in the past, so I don't know. On this.
So,
I guess,
but you say
it affects the public like that.
you don't believe that that is the case on this?
No.
Okay. I would be willing to move forward with this, and if you other gentlemen are.
I'm trying to think back when, the city of West Cliff or Silver Cliff have adopted ordinances, and
We do.
Just
2
remember the
readings when we
process.
do the towns, yes.
yeah,
But that is because that's what the municipal code,
okay,
not the municipal code. There's separate statutes dealing with adoption of ordinances and
Within-
municipalities.
okay.
There is a county.
okay.
Well, I don't know. A good question. I can see where people in the county would want to know if they're affecting it significantly, and they ought to be able to,
Mhm.
first time they've seen this is in this.
Maybe we want to do it, like, we've either done it in the past, or like the towns do it, just to be transparent and.
Because they could have been here to voice their opinion.
I
think something that probably bothers me as well is, it's page 3 under E, to protest a notice of violation. We've got to accept that our undersheriff may all of a sudden be busy with a bunch of notices that, hey, I wasn't driving my car that day, or hey, I want to protest this just to protest it, and what that could all bring about. So I think in my mind, does this cause us more problems, or does this help us? I just want to make sure that we are and they have to do it in writing, and probably most people will just pay the $40, but we got to realize if they decide to protest it, our undersheriff will be busy in hearings with that, because that's who administers those hearings.
That's who we've designated.
Right, as of right now.
Much of this is set up by statute, and we really can't change it.
Okay.
That's a part that we can talk about, because the statute just requires us to have a hearing. It doesn't really describe what that hearing looks like.
Okay.
So in discussions with the sheriff, the determination was made that the undersheriff would be the hearing officer, because we really need to designate someone who is going to do those hearings.
Right.
But the hearing officer could be anybody that we designate. I mean, it needs to be an office as opposed to an individual.
Okay.
It doesn't go through the court system, so it's going to be a county employee probably. But if we wanted the county clerk and recorder to do all these hearings, we would certainly county clerk and recorder do all these hearings.
And of course, we will be paying for that, at least the wage of whoever's administrating those, plus where we're gonna do them and all that jazz, so.
Sheriff is also, let me draw him in here, so he's got his hand in the air, so, Rich, you want to weigh in?
Yes, and actually Dr. Gilbert raised his hand before I did.
I'll get to him on public comment. Right now,
okay.
we're still up here at the table, and I'm pulling you into the table.
All right. Well, one of the top complaints that the sheriff's office receives is about traffic violations or unsafe driving in various parts of the county. We did a 5-year analysis of where the traffic crashes happen, and the single most dangerous place in the county to drive is on Highway 69, just north of the airport in those curves. And we've had several fatality car crashes in there. And the unfortunate thing is there's not really a good place to park a police car and then stop a semi truck, and they're the ones at risk. There's nowhere for them to park there on the shoulder of the road. So we'd literally have to follow them all the way up, past Ace Hardware to the gas station or something. And so I would like to be able to use this automated enforcement. So one, we could issue more tickets more safely. We would still have the option to do a full-blown traffic stop and charge the state fines. The state fines for speeding start at $160 and go up to almost $200. And then that does ding the person on their insurance, which actually can cost more than the fine does. And so I don't want the sheriff's office to be in a revenue business or profit-making business. I want us to be in a traffic safety business. And we had talked about what would happen to the funds when they're done. And I think a good way for the commissioners to invest them would be specifically with road and bridge for county road safety improvements. And it'd be worded kind of generically enough that you could use it to replace a guardrail or put in more signs and just make the county road safer with these funds that are collected. Most of the people, I believe, would pay it, and the first 30 days that the system would be up and running, the alleged violation driver or car owner would get a friendly warning. So for the first 30 days, there'd be no tickets. And so I think that would, a lot of people in the community would be surprised to see those. And I think just once the word gets out there that we're doing enforcement like this, it would kind of reduce the risky driving on all the county roads. We did identify a couple troublesome roads to the county attorney, and then at the end left it that we could also move that along with road and bridge. And so they're involved in some like a complex project on Copper Gulch they had, and they were getting trouble to get the people to drive safely through the construction zone. And so that's the area where we could deploy it and not clutter up the construction zone with traffic stops, but you could just simply use the video system to catch the violation with the laser and then mail them a ticket at home for $40.
Yeah, probably. I remember, Rich, you did point that out when you presented this. I think this ought to be coupled with how we want to use the fine. Just like you said, that's very important.
Well, I don't want to be in a position where if I'm managing my money badly, that I would tell the deputies, oh my God, run out and write a bunch of tickets to people so we can fix our financial problems. So I'd rather just take the money completely out of my budget and then invest it in actual making the road safe in Custer County.
Right. Hold on just a second, Dan. I hear you. My point is that it probably would warrant posting and to have the citizens understand what this is all about, as opposed to just a.
Yeah, we could do that one, and we don't have to do.
Write it so it does that. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say that the only recommendation or suggestion by the sheriff that I didn't put in this ordinance was the suggestion that we designate this as a road and bridge fund thing. Simply because if in the future the board decides it wants to go through and put it in a different fund, that would require amending this ordinance, whereas the way I have it written, the board can simply vote to put it in a different fund without the need for a written resolution, or, well, actually in this case, a written ordinance, which I thought was a more efficient use of the board's time. And I didn't want to speak for the board as to which fund it would go into as well, because really that may be what the sheriff wants. I'm not sure that that's, I don't know what the board wants, whether it should go in the general fund or whether it should go in the road and bridge or some combination, or, hard the sheriff's department, park the road and bridge, park the general fund, something. I didn't really want to speak for the board in putting a specific fund in the ordinance itself.
We haven't got a motion on the floor yet because we're still kind of discussing. Am I hearing that you gentlemen would rather make this a first reading or first hearing on this and post it and then revisit it?
Well, I think Bill
We
made a
did make a
motion and you
motion,
seconded
so we
it,
need
so.
to-
Okay,
It's on the floor.
I did do that. I apologize.
You can have a motion to postpone consideration of this ordinance until November, whatever.
Okay.
So we need to finish out the motion.
Yeah.
Or retract the motions, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, that would be, you could have that, a motion to
Oh.
postpone. until a date
Postpone.
certain.
Would
Okay.
supersede that.
And then.
That disposes of the motion
Okay.
for today.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should, and then figure out how we're gonna write it and get. I
Or where
like-
we're gonna put the money.
Yep, if we,
If we do this.
include it, how we do that, why this is there. And I think it should be viewed by the citizens.
Mhm.
And then make this available, this existing document available on the website and to the public for viewing before we revisit it, so that they have input.
Yeah.
So we need to get it rewritten correctly, not the whole thing, I'm just talking about it.
Yeah, we can put in, we can decide and figure out where we want to put the funds, and then we could put that as part of the ordinance.
Okay, so
So
I move we postpone the 7th. You
do you have a specific date in mind?
want to do it to mid? What is that date? We got all the meetings lined out, we had a mix,
So do you want to do it the 13th of November?
yeah.
Okay, so,
Basically a month.
and you made that motion, did I have a second?
I'll second.
So I have a motion on the floor to revisit this ordinance on November 13th. And in the meantime, we will post this ordinance and make available to the public for public comment, as well as any changes we might want to make between now and then. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any further discussion on that motion?
No,
No, sir.
Okay, discussion, public comment on the motion on the floor now to revisit this ordinance. Mr. Gilbert.
Well, since you've changed the motion, it's a little difficult, but I'll say that's a good idea because obviously there's some questions. If I can ask a question on the ordinance, and it's probably for Dan. My understanding is that we have an ordinance that will provide a different punishment for the same crime to individuals. So if somebody is caught by this, they'll get a $40 fine, but if they're caught by an officer, they'll get, I don't know, $250 fine. And that strikes me as a bit odd.
So. I
The
would ask if
legislature
you
set
would-
it up. Yes.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Like I said, it strikes me as a bit odd, but
So. And that was discussed some at a prior meeting than when the sheriff did bring this to us, because I believe I asked that question as well. So. Okay.
glad you,
Was that you, Rich? Okay, I'm not seeing any, no other hands. So those in favor of revisiting this ordinance on at the November 13th meeting and posting this ordinance for public view, signify by saying aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
we'll go clean it up and go from there.
Okay. Any additional items of business?
I do, I'm trying to think of what they are. Next week's meeting is on Thursday, not on Wednesday. So the 24th, 9 o'clock at the annex. And then the following Wednesday, the 30th in the annex as well. There was something else. Oh, so we had our 75% through the budget last week, Wednesday. We are currently overall around 70%. So for the county overall, that's all funds. So just wanted to put that out there. Most everybody's tracking below their 75%. In fact, everybody is tracking below their 75%. But just wanted to put that out there to the public. So we are reviewing it, and we went through it a lot, and spent about 3 hours on it. So just that was the other thing I wanted to add. So
Thank you. Yeah, I have a couple things real quick. There's some confusion on the chipper that we approved for to buy, and concern over liability. It was made clear to people that were there that the only person that can operate that is not, we're not loaning it out for any Joe Blow to go get it and go pull into his place and do the chipping. It's going to be a county employee that's fully trained and responsible, just like it is for the county employees that work the chipper that the county has to go clean up things as well. I want to make that clear.
Would be county employee or OEM volunteer that has been trained?
Been trained, I think, as a county, and once they are a county employee.
yeah, they're
So-
statutory,
Right.
kind of volunteer, basically.
Statute. So that's one thing. And the other thing I'd like to do, I want to bring up, and for us to consider at the next meeting, is changing our county attorney. Have a discussion about different people, issues and conflicts. So I want to bring that up and have Kelly put it on the agenda for next
So the
week.
24th.
I did talk to Dan about that.
Okay.
My concerns. Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay. That brings us to public comment. I'm not seeing public comment. So at this time, let me find that. Apologies for not having it pulled up. I guess I actually have it
Just
on
say,
here.
we want to go into an executive.
I would move, it's on the agenda, and I was looking it up on my other. I would move that we recess our normal BOCC meeting and go into executive session for personnel matter per 24-6-402 per N 4 per N F. And with the Colorado revised statutes. And it would be inclusive of those here at the table, as well as our HR director, Robert Smith. Have a second on that?
I'll say it.
Those in favor of recessing our BOCC meeting and moving into executive session?
Where?
They have a study upstairs. I think we would ask the present participants to exit, and we will go ahead and have our executive session here, if that works.
Boot them out, but I want to leave the cookies.
Those in favor of going into executive session?
door.
Those in favor?
Aye.
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 I will recess this, be down here when they put the doors in. Of course, it's an old door frame.
It's like to me, the older people are shorter.
They built things shorter.
Maybe the Mesa
We good to go?
See how short those doors.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly, you ready? Okay, the time is now 11:12 a.m. I will reconvene this BOCC meeting. The executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were myself, Commissioner Epp, Commissioner Kanda, Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper, Attorney Dan Slater, and HR Director Robert Smith. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Hearing none. I would ask if there is any other business.
Yeah, I have a quick announcement to make. Excuse me. Board.
Okay.
And I asked Vernon, he has the email, when they did the handover on, actually it occurred on the 9/11, that's when Sarah had Henry. And on that handover, they didn't make it clear to Deb that she's part of the Board of Health setting up. When I had a discussion with her, she said they couldn't do it because they've been very busy. They've actually done 382 vaccinations in the last couple of days. They're averaging 12 a day on that, so they couldn't get ready for the meeting. And so I asked her to post the facts where they stand. So they did a good job, and they got 10 points of what's going on, including some sanitarian issues they're working with Dorothy. So Vernon will put this on the website in lieu of the meeting.
Okay.
And the stats on their vaccination. So that gives us, frees us up until, what is it, 3 o'clock for the interview.
Okay, did that get sent to all of us?
Yeah, we just got it, so I'm gonna forward it on. You'll have the same letter that Vernon's gonna post. She just sent it to me.
Okay.
Right before we got in there.
So yeah,
I'll forward it.
you haven't gotten that yet, so I'd appreciate it.
Send it right this minute.
Thank you, sir. Any other items of business?
That's right.
I will conclude this BOCC meeting at 11:14 a.m. Thank you all for being here.